Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is going to be a kind of long meeting, so we are really short for time. That's why we are starting really early this time around. Thank you everyone for joining today. This is our last and final meeting in this program. We're super excited to be hosting this finale of the Digital Rights Learning Exchange Cohort 2 program. Thank you to everyone who has done an amazing job of being a part of this program from the beginning to the end. Today, the main objective for today is to listen to all of your presentations from the 5 groups that we have in this cohort. We're going to go over some housekeeping rules first that I'm sure all of you are aware of, but we're just going to go over them. 1, mute your microphone if you're not speaking. Use the chat to contribute to discussions or raise your hand. The meeting is recorded, so please mute your camera if you do not want to be visible. Remember our community participation guidelines all the time. And also the objectives of this program as a whole. We have come to the end of this program. It has been amazing. And we hope that we have been able to achieve all of the goals and objectives that we set out at the beginning of the program. We hope that all of the participants have been able to acquire critical thinking skills and knowledge for conducting effective digital rights advocacy campaigns. We hope that you've been able to use this as a platform to collaborate and network among other participants and learn about various instances of digital rights activism in various countries. We hope that you've been able to receive the guidance of mentors who have been able to give you important learnings with regards to digital rights advocacy. And overall, we hope that this program has been extremely useful to all of the participants in generating and growing their digital rights advocacy skills and enabling you all to think critically about digital rights advocacy issues in your local communities and how you can be a part of this. For this presentation, for this session, we would be focusing mainly on your presentations. We want to hear from you. We would be inviting all of the groups to present their projects that they have worked on all through this program. You each have about 10 minutes to give your presentation as a whole, so we advise you to limit your presentations to about 5 to 7 minutes and then give about 3 minutes at the end for questions. I'm sure that you would have questions at the end. We have also invited a number of participants to give a speech at the end, and these are some of the participants who have been amazing in this program. This doesn't water down the effort of other participants. Everyone has been excellent, but we would like to hear from a few participants. We also will be taking a keynote presentation from a member of our digital grassroots community. She would be giving the keynote presentation to highlight the key learnings of this program, and in a bit we would do a proper introduction for her. And last but not the least, before we close for the day, we would take a short speech from the Open Internet for Democracy Initiative and then closing remarks for digital grassroots. Before we start, I would like to ask if there are any questions, comments, or suggestions. Okay. Is Nandini on the call?
Hi, yes. Hi, Ufa. Hi, everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you, Nandini. Nandini is going to give the keynote presentation. She has been a very, very amazing member of our digital grassroots network. She was a community leader for internet health when we had that program in for Digital Grassroots. She does amazing work with the LGBTQ community and has been a great contributor to our network in the past years. She would be giving the keynote presentation now, and so I'm going to pause talking for a bit and let you hear from her when she talks about how the impact of digital rights advocacy for young people, for individuals from underrepresented communities. Thank you very much for joining us, Nandini. And yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ufai. Thank you for inviting me, Digital Grassroots. It has been a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to come back as a guest, as in like on the other side of the table, because I still remember when I had my own graduation ceremony in the finale, and it was such an emotional moment because firstly, it was during the lockdown. So it was a very emotionally and mentally turbulent time for all of us. And at that time, I was a community leader for internet health. So talk about health in the midst of COVID, right? And it was a very challenging time, but we got huge support from the mentors and from the Digital Grassroots staff to actually pull through and bring our projects to life. And before joining Digital Grassroots, actually, I was already interested in digital rights and cybersecurity. I studied law in Mauritius, which is where I'm actually based. And my research at university was actually based on cybercrime. But later on, I didn't really have an opportunity to practice in the field because Mauritius isn't really like as advanced as other countries with regards to digital rights. We don't have the huge, and especially because we're such a small country, so we don't have this huge framework. We don't have a lot of opportunities to practice in the field. But lately, it has been an area of concern, honestly, with regards to digital censorship, how things are being monitored on social media, and the kind of content that is being tapped from a lot of people's phones and leaked. Like, honestly, a couple of weeks ago, we had a minister's sex tape getting leaked. I kid you not. It was all over the media. So guys, please be careful about what you store on your phone. And this is one of my areas of advocacy, actually, to sensitize people about the type of content that they should keep on their phones, on their laptops, on their digital devices. And my focus is primarily on LGBTQI+ people, because as a minority group, they are much more subjected to discrimination. And also, if any type of information gets leaked around them, especially those who are still in the closet, it could lead to a lot of social, emotional, and also physical damage. So after I completed my fellowship with Digital Grassroots, I actually started working on a campaign that I will share with you now. So this is the campaign that I was working on. It is called Reform 53 Together for Legal Equality. So this is an advocacy campaign that was run by the Commonwealth Youth Gender and Equality Network. And this campaign was actually funded by the Royal Commonwealth Society. And we launched the campaign in January 2020, so right before COVID hit. And we couldn't see that there was a lockdown happening. So we actually got lucky because we shot a series of videos, as you can see here. And those videos were actually to call heads of governments of the Commonwealth to commit to reform laws that discriminate against minority groups and women and girls. So after we shot all of those videos, our plan was to actually meet with heads of governments in person and to lobby them to showcase our materials. But COVID-19 hit and everything got closed. So what I had to do was to actually pivot the campaign to the digital space. And And it was a huge challenge at the time because digital campaigning wasn't really a thing. Now, 2 years after the campaign, after the pandemic, sorry, it actually is, digital campaigning has kind of taken off around the world, but at the time it wasn't a thing. So there were no guidelines. I didn't know how to proceed. And at that time, I just tapped into what had been taught to me while I was following my course on internet health at Digital Grassroots. And I made sure that I was diligent with regards to the content that I'm posting online. I made sure that my communications are actually streamlined. And then I pivoted the campaign to the digital space. I reached out to a lot of people so that they could see what we were doing. I posted all of the materials. And we actually managed to gather quite an amount of traction for all of our social media posts. Let me share the social media account with you so you can have an idea of the kind of work that I was doing. So this is the Facebook page, and here you can see we started. This is you will see a lot of images where people have the logos of the campaign drawn on their palms and taking selfies with it, which is an idea that we launched during the pandemic so that we could gain traction on social media. And we also shared a lot of the content of the images that we took before the pandemic. We partnered with a lot of other organizations that are actually advocating for the safe type of cause. And if you want advocacy, this is a very useful strategy because it means that as a coalition, you have more power if you're sounding a unified voice, and it brings you a lot more visibility as well and credibility to your cause. So you're more likely to get a seat at the table. So we partnered, as you can see here, with the International Youth Federation. We partnered with a number of organizations such as Girls Not Brides. We hosted a series of podcasts. We hosted a number of webinars as well, so as to boost our presence on social media. And the campaign actually we culminated last year, and we actually managed to present our campaign quite successfully. And at the end of it all of my advocacy actually culminated in a report that I published in collaboration with Digital Grassroots, which is here. So this is the campaign. It is on LGBT rights in the digital space, and it has a series of recommendations for LGBTQI+ people. As you can see, it is on the Digital Grassroots website. And so this is, I got a lot of support from Digital Grassroots to publish this. It is based on a discussion on a webinar that I hosted around LGBTQI+ rights, and it is a manual that helps a lot of LGBTQI+ people, especially young people, navigate the digital space in safety and to preserve their rights to privacy and freedom of information. So I would encourage all of you to read the report and get back to me if you have any questions. I am on social media as well, and I really look forward to hearing more about your projects, and I hope we can collaborate in the future for any other projects that you have with regards to advocacy. It was a huge privilege to be here to celebrate this huge moment with you guys, and I hope that this is just the beginning of your amazing journey in digital advocacy. I wish you all the very best, and I wish all the best to Digital Grassroots as well. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nandini. That was really excellent. And yes, we always appreciate working with you and with all of our community members. Thank you very much once again for joining us. I am going to call on now, I'm going to call on our first group, just to give a bit of a rundown on how the presentations are expected to go. Please, please, please let us all be mindful of the timing so that we are fair to each group that is supposed to present. Everyone is advised to give a presentation for up to 5 to 7 minutes. It's fine if you want only one member of your team to do the speaking, or if your team is collaborating to share the speaking bits, that's 100% fine. If you need us to share your presentation, when we are able to do that, but if you're already set up and ready to share your screen, that is fine as well. At the end of the presentation, you can take 1 or 2 questions, and yeah, that would be it. Good luck to everyone, and on behalf of the Digital Grassroots team, we are super excited to hear your amazing presentations. The first group now would be the Access and Affordability group. Yeah, are they here and are they ready to present?
Yes, Ofa, I don't know whether you have the presentation.
Sure, I do. I am just going to share my screen now. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, there we go. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well, thank you all, the DGRA team, for this opportunity. And our presentation, our project is on internet access and affordability. And I would like to thank my team for the collaborative work they did to make this happen. Next slide, please. So our presentation outline includes the campaign summary, the factors influencing internet access, campaign objectives, stakeholders, the effects of the internet, costs, policies, and shutdowns in Uganda, our research methodology, the communication and advocacy plan, and then the campaign outcomes, which will include our way forward. Next slide, please. So our campaign was focused on internet access and affordability in Uganda. And the summary is: internet costs are a great barrier to people who own a smartphone or a computer in Uganda. This is coupled with extra internet taxes imposed on social media access, unfair policies, and internet shutdowns, which disrupt connectivity. The campaign aims to advocate and create awareness on internet access and affordability challenges and their effects in Uganda. Next slide, please. Thank you. The previous slide.
So next, as part of our presentation, is campaign objectives. Our campaign objectives is the slide before the one. Yes, thank you. So our campaign objectives, so we comprise of hosting dialogues so as to create an engaging and wide inclusive space. Thereafter, we'll also focus on generating infographics on internet access so as to make use of the pictorial impact of using infographics. The third aspect will be engaging NGOs who are well-versed on internet governance issues, including research. Research is a key component as there is need to adopt evidence-based research as we seek to make the internet space affordable and accessible for all persons concerned. Fourthly, we'll share tools and resources on internet access with activists who by now have already built clout around this and are well-versed and will be one of our allies. Next slide, please. Stakeholders. Our first group of stakeholders will be inclusive of internet users. This includes both rural population, urban population, and we've made an example of persons with disabilities as a key population because they're usually discriminated and marginalized. And to address this discrimination, access and affordability to the internet space is key. Thereafter, we'll also engage telecommunication companies, media houses, as the cost and the affordability of the internet space will also affect them. Hence, it is key to have them to engage them and to have them in this space. Thirdly, we'll also engage government agencies and community-based organizations and civil society organizations due to their influence and also to complement each other's works and also as key allies. Lastly, we'll engage policymakers so as to make the access and affordability of the internet space a key issue to be addressed in agenda setting and to have the limelight it deserves. Next slide, please.
So the effects of internet costs and policies and internet shutdowns in Uganda. These include reduced internet use, disrupts access to online information, it limits digital rights and organizing. For example, the Walk to Work protest in 2021, where protesters were not in position to organize due to the internet shutdown, closure of media houses and online channels, where approximately 700 sites were closed by 2018 by the Uganda Communications Commission, riots resulting in injuries, arrests and deaths, unfair elections. For instance, in 2006, 2016 and 2021, internet was shut down and voters could not be in position to tally their votes to know whether their candidates really did their best. So there was rigging of votes and information was closed from the outside, and the outside countries could not know what was going on due to the internet shutdown. So banking and wire transfer services are also interrupted, especially mobile money, which is widely used by the common person. And this is according to the Internet Rights and Freedom Report, which was produced in 2020 by the African Freedom of Information Information Center. Next slide.
So for our research methodology, it's in 3 parts. The first one will be having dialogues, where we'll host 3 dialogues from women, people living with disabilities, with the Uganda Communications Commission, Internet Society of Uganda, and policymakers via Twitter Spaces. And then secondly, we'll also work on using infographics that will be posted with information on internet policies, shutdowns, and highlighting the high internet rates in Uganda on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, respectively. And then lastly, we'll be using research tools like TAIL VPNs and online resources to activists to enable them to access internet without challenges. Next slide, please. Our communication and advocacy plan has an objective to create awareness on internet access and affordability challenges to populations in Uganda by capacitating activists on how to overcome these challenges through various tools and resources. Then we also want to engage various stakeholders, internet users, predominantly women, students, policymakers in Uganda, telecom houses, as well as government and NGO organizations. And the message really for our campaign is to have citizens that know that they have the right to freedom of expression and access to information, while also advocating for lower and revised internet costs and doing away with unfair internet policies. And the communication channels, as mentioned before, are going to be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, making use of roundtable meetings with policymakers and radio stations. Next slide, please. So these are some of the campaign outcomes that we would want to achieve with our campaign, using indicators such as the number of dialogues hosted, the number of infographic posted, the number of engagement between CSOs, NGOs, and the number of tools that we're going to be sharing with internet activists in Uganda. Next slide, please. So overall, next steps of this for advocacy is to prioritize our key stakeholders engagement, knowing who we should start with and trying to be strategic about that, as well as research on different online tools and resources that we can also keep on giving access to the internet activists. And the key resources to sustain our advocacy plan, financial support for data allocation for the activists, as well as for the people who will be participating in the Twitter spaces, Facebook dialogues, as well as the linking and learning from other international organizations that focus on internet and open democracy spaces. And then the impact of this progress really has highlighted to us as a group on the importance of digital spaces and the need to be aware of the context and issues being addressed. With that, we thank you.
Thank you very much, Access and Affordability Group, for your excellent presentation. That was really amazing. Thank you very much. That was good. I'm going to open the floor now to anyone who has any questions for the group to please ask. Any questions for the group?
I see a question in the chat.
Okay, let me get to it. So Elizabeth is asking, do you think similar advocacy approaches would work to push back against both high internet costs and internet shutdowns, or will each of these policies require different strategies? Does anyone from this group would like to take this question?
Yes, sure. Thank you for this great question. When you look at policies are made by the legislature. So they're key people that are voted in power to represent the general population and policy making. And one tactic that I've seen working is every time information is made public, there is more power, there is more organizing. So I think it is always hard to call the policymakers on table because of so many factors, tokenism, some activists and advocates, when they meet in closed doors, they tend to, be bribed, or their power is kind of reduced, their influence. But using social media strategies and making everyone involved might expose them, and they feel that these are our voters. So there are high chances that they will listen and do something. So that's the strategy that we chose. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that excellent response, Abubakar. That's actually a really great point that you have raised. In many countries, when their advocacy work is being done, if it's being done behind closed doors, there's a possibility of bribery and some sort of not really straightforward actions being taken. So your strategy for working extremely open is a great highlight and really interesting. Thank you very much, Access and Affordability Group, for your excellent presentation once again. At this point, I'm going to move on to the next group, that's freedom of expression, information disorder. If you are ready to present, that is fine. If you need me to share the screen for your presentation, that is fine as well.
Hello.
I suppose you.
Hi, Clarice.
You can share the screen for us, please. Thank you.
All right, sure. I'm doing that right away. Okay, I guess you're good to go.
So hello, everyone. So this is the Freedom of Expression Information Disorder Group. Our campaign is actually a hashtag, facts only. And the members are Clarice Mideva, Ludi Omolo, and Stanley Jr. Bernard. Next slide, please. So the project's goals and objectives are basically to create awareness on the impact of information disorder by training the next media literate generations, to highlight how disinformation laws are being weaponized to repress fundamental freedoms, for example, the freedom of expression and the right to access to information, and to promote stakeholder responsibility in limiting information disorder. So since we are in the digital age where internet is able to be accessed by everyone, information is being shared through the internet. And because of this, the internet has now become a hub for information disorder, and internet users are now able to use the internet to silence critical voices, to distort the truth, to spread propaganda, to influence public opinion, to perpetuate hate speech, amplify social divisions, and undermine democracy. And this can be seen recently in the recently held Kenya general elections, where there was a lot of misinformation and disinformation online that led to a lot of tribalism online, and it ended up undermining democracy. Also, governments have in many cases used these disinformation laws to silence government critics and to suppress the fundamental rights and freedom of expression and the right to access of information. So the goal of this campaign is basically to create awareness on the impact of information disorder and how it can be a threat to democracy, how it can be a threat to the freedom of expression, how it can be a threat to the right to access to information, and to promote stakeholder responsibility in limiting information disorder on the internet. Next slide, please. So since we followed strictly the guidelines that were provided for us for preparation of the slides, we chose to go with our stakeholder and communication plan. So we mapped out different stakeholder groups that are going to participate in this campaign. And one of them is social media users. So with social media users, we have the bloggers, we have the internet users as well. We have the influencers, because these are the people who normally share information online. And the communication goal or message to social media users will be to counter-check the accuracy of information before they disseminate the same. Because most times influencers and bloggers and internet users will just be sharing information without actually verifying the source of this information. And the communication tools for this will be holding webinars, polls, social media polls, Twitter Spaces or live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, creating IEC materials like posters, and this will be done weekly. We also have the civil society, which are the human rights activists and the CSOs. And the communication message for the civil society will be to countering information disorder narratives and to build literacy to identify instances of information disorder. With them, we'll use dialogues, research studies, reports and newsletters, and this will be done quarterly. And then we have the government agencies. We have the Communication Authority, which regulates the internet space. We have the Media Council. We have the law enforcers, the police, who actually enforce these disinformation laws. And the communication message to them will be to uphold the freedom of expression and the access to information. So with them, the communication tools will be the policy briefs, the dialogues, lobbying, the research studies and reports, and this will be done quarterly. And then we have the media organizations. These are now the major stakeholder group because they disseminate information, whether through print media, through broadcast. So we have the bloggers associations, we have the media houses, and the communication goal for this stakeholder group is to create systems to verify information before they share to the public and to counter information disorder narratives as well. So with them, we'll use dialogues, research, studies, reports, newsletters, and this will be done half yearly. We have learning institutions as well. The audience are the journalism and media schools. For them, the communication goal will be to tailor a curriculum that caters for information disorder and to build literacy to identify instances of information disorder. And this will be done half yearly. We also have the social media platforms, because this is where there's a lot of information disorder, like Twitter, Facebook, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, all those platforms. The communication goal will be for them to create systems to verify information shared on the platform. And we saw how Twitter did during the Kenyan general elections, where they flagged all tweets that was spreading propaganda. And then the communication tools for social media platforms will be dialogues, petitions, lobbying, research studies, and this will be done as per rising need. Next slide, please. So the next steps for our project will actually be to communicate this campaign to all the stakeholders involved, all the stakeholders that we have highlighted, and then to seek funding for the campaign, to invite social media users to use this, to join the campaign using the hashtag facts only, either on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and then to create these IEC materials like the posters, the short videos, so that it interacts with the users and also creates awareness on the impact of information disorder. We will also hold roundtable talks, webinars, and trainings on limiting information disorder. And the key resources for this project will be print publications and mailing lists on information disorder, the laws, the regulations, and the policies that have been put in place to counter information disorder, the social media posts, either those that have been flagged and those that are still being shown, that can still be seen on social media, the reports from technology companies like Google, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we have the government reports on internet usage, reach, and disinformation. We will also use case studies from other countries. We will interview respondents from the government, from academia, digital content creators, mainstream media, and also victims of information disorder. And then we'll use financial resources to cover the cost of the research, dialogue, convenings, and other activities, as well as human resource to undertake the campaign. Next slide, please. So we were asked to state the impact of this program to us. So as a group, this program has built our confidence, it has enhanced our abilities, increased our access to opportunities, and it has also strengthened our networks. It has also equipped us with the right information and resources, knowledge, and insight on how to conduct a successful digital rights campaign. So the program has indeed been successful to us as well as to the digital grassroots program. So thank you so much. This is all from our group.
Thank you very much, Freedom of Expression, Information Disorder. That was a really, really lovely presentation. Thank you so much for being able to highlight the key aspects of learning and how you've been able to shape your presentation. I'm going to open the floor to anyone who has a question for this group to please share and let us know any comments, questions, or suggestions. Thank you. Okay, you have a few compliments in the group. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. I am going to, if there are no questions for this group, I'm going to move on to the next group. The next group is going to be, sorry, give me a minute. The next group is going to be internet shutdowns. We're going to, if you would like me to share your presentation, internet shutdown, let me know, or if you're available to do that to share your screen, and that's also fine. Internet shutdowns, are you here?
Yes, we are here. We sent you a slide few minutes to the session. Could you please help us?
Okay, all right. Okay.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Digital Grassroots, for this platform and opportunity. My name is Ataman Aikira, representing Digital Internet Shutdown. Our campaign is focused on digital authoritarianism, addressing internet shutdowns and disruptions in Africa. Could you please go to the next slide for us? Next slide, please. Yes. In recent times, we have experienced dramatic increase in the use of oppressive forms of control by the government to forestall digital democracy in Africa. In Uganda, it was to hinder a democratic election in 2021, and in Nigeria, it was to hinder freedom of communication, freedom of expression and association on the internet platform, especially on Twitter. Our campaign generally is focused on creating awareness campaign and drive focus group discussion as well as dialogue around policy reforms towards improving citizen digital rights in Africa. Our objective in line with these are to galvanize conversations and be able to complete 10 strategic focus groups discussions within with maximum of 20% in these focus group discussions with different stakeholders across each nation that internet shutdowns and disruptions are affected by this across Africa. The second one is to investigate and document policies that infringe on the rights of citizens in Nigeria, in Uganda, and other African countries. And thirdly, to build advocacy campaign for strategic policy reforms. We understand that a strategic partnership with stakeholders, both state and non-state stakeholders, government representative, and media authorities would help us to channel our campaign to get the right results. Next slide, please.
Our campaign strategy will be working with stakeholders. We will have stakeholder engagements where we'll hold roundtable discussions with government officials, judicial body, journalists, human rights defenders, and activists. While doing this, we'll need different, the reason for doing that is that we'll need different opinions, we'll need different feedback from different people, thus holding the stakeholder engagements. We'll do online campaigns by use of hashtags like End Internet Shutdown, Stop Digital Authoritarianism, Digital Rights, Education via Instagram and Facebook Live and Twitter Space. In case we are unable to reach these people personally, we'll have to use the online campaigns to reach the people online as well. That's to increase our reach. We'll also hold and moderate webinars. There will be online lectures for internet users, stakeholders, state and non-state actors. From that, we'll engage traditional media, where digital rights debates on national TV stations, published articles on open internet and the dangers of digital authoritarianism, radio discussions, focus group discussions, etc.
I'm sorry, I think you are showing the wrong slide. This is the initial slide that was shared with you, which sent a slide just before this meeting started. That is the slide we are working with. However, just go on, please.
I'm sorry about that, this group. If you like, we can push your presentation forward and take on another group now. Is that fine? While we get your new slides? Or would you like to go on with your presentation?
I think we can go on unless Kia thinks otherwise.
Thank you.
Okay, and action plans. So we shall gather petition signatures from different stakeholders. Then we shall also establish collaborations and partnerships from grassroots, national and international collaborators who are interested in our project and initiative. Then we shall gather digital rights awareness stories and campaigns from different affected parties at all different levels, so that we can share these globally. Then we shall identify digital right policies for review, and then promote social media campaigns and hashtags on the topic for greater awareness and participation in order to press or put pressure on the governments that are inflicting our right. Then our resources, we shall get this information from news outlets, NGOs, websites, TV and radio station websites, and then social media, and then newspapers. Next, please. So this program has personally helped me be part of a project that we want to implement in future, this project that we have actually presented. And we want to thank you a lot for this initiative. However, going beyond that, I've also managed to learn about digital rights. So this is the first program that I've attended where I've learned about online rights. As a lawyer, I can see the connection between the offline policies and then online policies and how the two can be integrated for greater impact. So you cannot really argue that there are no digital rights in a country where democratic rights are recognized and protected. So that's a good angle to actually look at this. And then I've also managed to network with different youths. And of course, we have plans of collaborating in future with some of my friends like Fatina, who's part of this group, to work together. And then also to further build on the collaborations that are within this program, and also with digital grassroots. Of course, it's not the end. I think my friends may also have more to add to this impact. Thank you.
Personally, I was so used to other rights like health rights, sexual reproductive health and rights. And little did I know that internet rights were serious and an important need for everyone. So thanks to digital rights for opening my eyes on that.
We want to say a big thank you to Digital Grassroots for this opportunity and platform. Personally, this has been a very great learning platform for me, and every step we take in getting to this great grand finale was very impactful for me, getting to know how to communicate, how to frame our project, our campaign, who to communicate it to our different stakeholders, what communication channels and everything we've learned along the line of this project has been really great and very impactful. Thank you once again. And the last slide is thank you for having us in this cohort.
Thank you very much, Internet Shutdown Group. And also, once again, sorry about your slides. We would definitely share your revised slides with the group and in the publications. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to open up the floor for any questions for this group. Questions, comments, suggestions. Okay, I see we have a hand raised, Lindsay. Please go ahead and unmute your microphone to ask your question.
Hi, sorry, my internet is really bad, so if I go in and out, my apologies. I noticed that you do not have, first of all, digital security trainings in your advocacy campaign. And as you do that, you need to be aware that this can call negative attention to you from the state, because they're not going to be to make you a birthday cake for teaching people how to avoid internet shutdowns, which brings me to my next point. You need to be cautious with your campaigns. I've noticed that you talk a lot about campaigns and petitions. It's really best, in my experience, to work under the radar, because there's something called a digital shadow. And these are the footprints that you leave on the internet. So if your footprint on the internet is as an enemy of the state, then that's not good for you. What they typically do is use malware to just make sure you can't work. You can't get important emails. Your Gmail account just gets shut down. You have to keep formatting your computer. So you have to use great presentation.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, for sharing with the group. That was really kind of you to advise the group, and we really appreciate your comments. And at this point, I'm going to call on the next group, which is freedom of expression, regulations, and policy. If you'd like me to share my screen, let me know. And but if you're available to share a screen, that's fine.
All right, thank you so much, Alpha. You can share the screen.
Okay. There we go.
Yes, thank you so much. This group is focused on the freedom of expression, regulations, and policies in Nigeria. We name it, we will not be silenced. Together with me in this group is myself, Mohamed Bello Buhari, Doreen Odunga, Kehinde Adegboyega, and Adora Ajozi. Next slide, please. All right. Our project summary for this project is first, according to Amnesty International Nigeria, 19 journalists have been arrested and detained illegally in 2019 by security authorities in the country. Journalists, bloggers, and activists have been detained for publishing articles and demanding accountability from government with laws like the Section 24, sorry for the spelling error, section, not session, Section 24 of the 2014 Nigeria Cybercrime Act. We are driving an advocacy that influenced the change of these laws. Now, in case if you don't know, Section 24 of the Nigeria Cybercrime Act states as follows, that it says that it criminalizes sending or causing to be sent an offensive, insulting, or annoying message via computer system or network. The offense is punishable, including a fine of up to 7 million or imprisonment of up to 3 years or both. But the issue is that the law did not define what is insulting or even annoying or offensive. So journalists have been clamped down for using the Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act. So we are driving an advocacy that influences the change of these laws. Now, objectives for this project is first is call for the amendment of the policies and regulations that infringe on freedom of expression online in Nigeria, create awareness on existing laws that infringe on freedom of expression, and highlight digital policies that affect the digital rights in Nigeria. Lastly, organize stakeholders to collaborate to take or influence action on these policies that affect freedom of expression online. Next slide, please.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, sorry, I will take it over from there. I was going to hand over. So our next slide is focused on our communication plan. This our presentation starts from our whole campaign. We wish to notify everyone about that. So major steps are the policymakers. One of our communication plan is to educate them on the dangers of oppressive law and how it affects freedom of expression online. To also host town meeting conversation with these high-level stakeholders, also plan newsletters, research, release different social media policy memo in relation to this with them. We also intend to with our major stakeholders, which are the internet, the citizens. We need to, one of our strategy is to educate them about their digital rights and also make them understand these digital right policies set what they do online. So we do that by social media posts, radio shows, podcasts, articles, webinars, and all that. So that major stakeholders are media organizations. So we intend to educate them also about how this repressive affect what they do, and because they are the major victim here, like even last week, 2 journalists were picked up in a part of the country for writing out a governor. So the media houses and media owners, one of our major stakeholders, and we intend to have stakeholder meetings, release memos to communicate with them. Thank you. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Kindly go back to the previous slide. There's one that I just skipped. Yeah, there. So what comes next? That we felt like we will need more funding for this activity to be implemented. Also, we need to do a planning on the cost, budgeting schedule. Then there's also the list of the deliverables and to make sure what needs to be done on which day. And there's also the preparation of the work breakdown structure and to also schedule the whole project development. The resource planning, this will indicate who will do what work at what time and any special needs or skills needed to accomplish. So basically this will be the human resource that will be needed for this. The budget planning for each specific activity, the procurement, what will be needed, procuring the necessary materials, and also assess the risk that will be handling, because when you're working with the government, most of the time there are risks that we are seeing them coming and we can't really avoid. So these also need to be kept on, to be planned for in case they also happen. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is our takeaway for this program. So we as a group, we are leaders in our own personal lives in the digital rights and internet governance space. This learning exchange program has made us attain various skills that makes us better advocates for digital rights in our various spaces. We think every part of the course was great, from the online learning platforms to every week sessions to the meetings with the group members and our amazing mentor. It's absolutely impactful. Our favorite part was the course collaboration with our group members, which was very interactive, enlightening, as the group cuts across different countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freedom of Expression Group. This has been a very, very wonderful presentation. I'm going to open the floor to anyone who has any question for this group. Anyone, questions, comments, or suggestions?
Yeah, I see a question in the chat.
Okay. What kind of challenges do you anticipate might arise during this advocacy campaign? Thank you very much for that question, Elizabeth. If I can add to it, I would also like you to talk a bit more about the freedom of expression bill that you stated. You mentioned that there wasn't a lot of clarity on what insultive statements may be. So what would be your approach towards clarifying that?
All right, on the challenges that we foresee coming is one, when you're working with policy, with amendment of policies, also to also just get rid of a certain law that is infringing people's rights. Most of the time, this is like working with the government directly, and most of the time, there will be a lot of tokenism that will happen. So you get the drive might change, and it needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of basically, I'll say it needs a lot of courage dealing with the government, because you really don't know what will happen next. So we really have to focus on these risks and ways that we can make sure that we are on the course, and to just not slide out from the main course is getting the right stakeholders, getting all the allies with us, so that those are the ones that will influence those ones that might be now the threat to the campaign. Yeah. When it comes to the act, I think Buhari can come in. I'm not so versed to the Nigerian legal system. Yeah, thank you.
All right, let me talk about that. I think we in the project summary, we used Section 24 as an example. Section 24 of Cybercrime Act. I can say that in 2019, SERAP sued the federal government on this, and the ECOWAS court sitting in Ghana dismissed, or let me say dismissed it didn't. I think it started in Nigeria, then SERAP moved to Court of ECOWAS. But the issue is that, and the case favored.
Oh, we seem to have lost Buhari. While we wait for him to get connected again, I see we have another question for this group from Crystal. I'm going to read it out, noting that this is a freedom of expression campaign. What are some of the measures in place for this campaign to safeguard online bullying that can be justified as freedom of expression? And I'm going to call on the group, because of time, I'm going to call on this group to please respond to the questions in the chat and to carry on the conversations there. I see that there are quite a lot of buzz going on in the chat at the moment. Okay, we have. Thank you. Hi, Buhari. Would you like to conclude your statement? I think you're muted. Okay, I'm going.
Yes, sorry for the network. It was a network issue.
All right, that's fine.
Right.
And please go ahead and conclude
Okay.
your.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. All right. I was saying that SERAP should the federal government on that. And ECOWAS held that Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act is inconsistent and incompatible with the Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People Rights and Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. I've not been, finding it as a precedent to, judge other cases that so many CSOs are filing in the court. So I think we just have to focus on the advocacy on the digital rights and freedom bill here in Nigeria. Make sure that the country sign it and then continue to push in other advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Buhari, for your response. And thank you very much to the Freedom of Expression, Regulations and Policy Group for your wonderful presentation. I'm going to call on our final group for this session, which is Privacy and Surveillance. Are they here? Would they like me to share my screen, or do they have that already set up?
Hi, Ufa. We are here. If you will kindly share the screen.
Amazing. Okay. There you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana. I will be presenting on behalf of the Privacy and Surveillance Group. So we were a team of 4, me, Diana Wairimu, Lindsay Kukunda, Julius Okoth, and Justine Kakoko. So we focused on the topic of combating digital surveillance in East Africa, and our project objectives were to create awareness on digital surveillance in East Africa, to shine a spotlight on digital rights violations through digital surveillance across East Africa, and to demand accountability and protection of digital rights from governments, parastatals, and law enforcement agencies. So in summary, creation of awareness of digital rights and the various international and national laws they are protected under will enable East African citizens to recognize when digital surveillance goes against their personal rights. They are then able to demand accountability and protection from bodies and personnel involved. So next slide, please. In East Africa, various countries have deployed digital surveillance technology, including Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. The various types of surveillance technology that has been deployed include CCTV with facial recognition, remote control hacking, eavesdropping, active use of malware, phishing, and cyber stalking. Next slide, please. The various justifications for use of digital surveillance technology that have been given by governments and various enforcement agencies include to monitor crime rates, also to monitor terrorism and terrorism financing, to control hate speech, anti-corruption, and other economic crimes. However, despite the goodwill behind setting up of digital surveillance mechanisms, there have been several incidences of misuse where these digital surveillance mechanisms have been used to violate the personal digital rights of citizens, specifically political dissidents, bloggers, and human rights defenders, who are mostly targeted. Next slide. So the next steps which we can use to combat digital surveillance are, we can start a mass digital surveillance awareness campaign in coalition with key stakeholders to conduct training and support various digital rights advocates. Also, creation of dedicated social media pages, blogs, and newsletters to bring awareness closer to the people. We can demand implementation of local policies and legislation protecting digital rights. We can also encourage citizens to speak out against the use of digital surveillance in violations of their rights. We can also demand accountability from government agencies, politicians, law enforcement agencies, and other bodies involved through the use of data collected from surveillance incidences reported. Also, we can create a monitoring and evaluation plan to analyze the impact of our campaigns and the areas that will require more input. And also we can carry out digital security safety training. So the key resources that are going to be necessary for this campaign are funding in order to be able to mobilize resources and manpower. Also human resources to carry out the campaign, and digital tools such as computer privacy software to also ensure that our online environment is safe while we are carrying out these campaigns. So what impact has the Digital Rights Exchange program had for me? So as a group, we have learned very much, and we have learned how to successfully create a digital awareness program. Personally, I can say there is a lot of new information that we have learned, and also the process of creating our digital rights campaigns, having a structure and organization from start to finish. I can say that has been very eye-opening, and also interacting with new people from different countries and organizing and working together. Yeah, it has been a very rewarding program for me and my counterparts. So thank you to the facilitators and digital grassroots. Yes. Oh yes, as I have said, the program has equipped us with knowledge and information on how to successfully conduct a digital rights program. And for example, Lindsay in our group said that knowledge that was vague to her has become more concrete, and also she has learned new concepts and an organized working structure. And again, thank you. So that is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much to the Privacy and Surveillance Group for your presentation. I'm going to open the floor to anyone who has questions for this group to please ask. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Very, very well done to the team on surveillance. My question is about the justifications that are there for surveillance. How are you going to address that in your campaign, given that there are people who believe that surveillance is necessary? Thank you.
How we can address the justifications is to create a balance, and also ensure that there are systems in place to ensure that surveillance does not lead to violations. basically, we have to create our checks and balances mechanisms to ensure that these justifications are not then used to cause unjustified surveillance on people or target specific individuals or groups of people on the basis maybe of something discriminatory, and then justify these actions through the various justifications that have been given. So yeah, we can work on a system of checks and balances.
Thank you very much, Dinah. I see we have a number of hands raised in the chat, but I'm going to call on just one person to share and encourage the other to please put their comment in the chat or question. And Juliet, if you would like to please unmute your microphone to speak. Yeah, that'll be fine. Lindsay, please put your question or comment or suggestion in the chat because of time. Thank you very much. Julius, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Are you getting me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm Julius Costa. I'm a member of that team. Somebody has asked about the justification of surveillance and party. I'd like to know very well that that the government works in solidarity of each other. Like for example, there's some companies that come up with the surveillance tools. Like the other day, we heard of Israel coming up with a tool called Pegasus. You know, we realize that countries in East Africa like Rwanda, Uganda, even I know even Kenya has done that. They are sharing information. So to justify is when countries are tendering those tools like Pegasus they're buying from Israel. So it's a matter of us being aware of what's happening within around us, and also as right holders, we as right holders, we need to have what we call the cross-pollination. We're sharing information. If you're Rwanda, share information. As Rwanda bought those Pegasus tools that they're using for surveillance. Also, we need to solidify and have solidarity in cross-pollination, sharing what is happening in other countries, especially among East Africa, because they share a lot. Government share, but we as civil actors, we don't share. So we need to have sharing of information, the way government also sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Juliet. That was amazing. And thank you very much to all of the groups for your presentation. We are still, on behalf of the entire digital grassroots team, we are super glad that everyone has been able to find this program impactful to their learning as digital rights advocates, and also to curate everything that they have learned throughout the 6 weeks of this program and present them now. At this point, I would like to call on 3 participants to give a 1-minute presentation or share, as you would call it, about the impact of this program. We would like to recognize 3 participants who have been exceptional in their participation. These are, the first participant I would call on is Leon. Leon, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, yes, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. A big thank you to the Digital Grassroots team. I came from a diverse background of other interests, mainly focusing on women's rights. And going through the 6 weeks created a different perspective on digital rights and how that can be an intersectionary point for the work that I'm currently doing. Working with the team was also a great experience. We are from diverse backgrounds, and trying to get together from different time zones meant that we had to be accommodating, which was a good thing for me, learning the team dynamics and how to manage that. And I think a big takeaway for me is the practicality around the program. because we're slowly building up from not having a campaign until we had one, and looking at the gaps, the strengths, what to do and what not to do. And also from getting assistance from our mentor, Jessie, was also a plus. So I'd like to say thank you very much to the Digital Grassroots team. Oh yes, and one other thing. Last week was, I think, exceptional, discussing things around self-care. After all is said and done, self-care is important in the work that we do. I look forward to more collaborations, networking, implementation of campaigns, friendships, and greater things. Thank you, Digital Grassroots team.
Thank you very much, Leon. Our next participant would be Abubakar. Are you present? You have 1 minute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ofa. I do really thank the Digital Rights Exchange program organizers. This program has really been impactful. Previously, I had completed my consultancy training in human rights education. And the question that I had was, I'm going to implement projects on human rights education, but then I have to apply digital tools to do this based on the environment that we are in. And then that wasn't addressed during the training. And my participation in this program really gave me the tools that I need and how to apply all the learnings that I've learned in the course of the program, from digital security, the resources and the connections. And this has been a wonderful opportunity for me, that I even have a team of people that I can reach out to, the Jessies, the Derek. So a lot of networking. So this is very, very amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abubakar, for your kind words. The next participant I would call on is Julius. Julius, you have the floor.
This learning exchange program is very, very important to me, especially the two modules was really very important, especially on data and the featuring and evaluation. It was very, very, especially myself as a grassroots organizer, trainer. I really, before I used to think that issue of monitoring and evaluation is for the elite and for the profession. But this training has made it to be, you have localized it, that has made it very clear for me, so that when I'm going to the grassroots training communities, it is very easy for me. And also the issue of data advocacy. I didn't know that you can use data in advocacy. So it has made me that we shall also be doing a community data, social research and data, so that we can do it in advocacy. So those two modules, data advocacy, motor evaluation, it's very critical. That's really touched my nerves and can work very well on where I'm working. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julius. And once again, thank you to all of our participants. You have all been amazing. At this point, I'd like to call on a representative from the Open Internet for Democracy Initiative to give a few words. The Open Internet for Democracy Initiative are the sponsors of this program. Elizabeth, you have the floor.
Great, thank you so much, Ufa. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's on the call today. My name is Elizabeth Sutherland. I'm a program associate for democracy and technology at the National Democratic Institute, and I'm one of the co-organizers of the Open Internet for Democracy Initiative. The initiative is a collaborative effort between NDI, the Center for International Private Enterprise, and the Center for International Media Assistance that aims to connect diverse voices from around the world, from media, business, and civil society, to promote a multi-stakeholder democratic vision of the internet. I want to thank everyone who's attending, who's taking time out of their days for the finale for this call today. I saw, some people in the attendance list who've been, mentors for the participant groups, who've been guest speakers, alumni of the program, or, those who are just connected to the participants presenting their work today. But, no matter what, we're very grateful to have you as part of this community. I also want to thank Nandini for her words earlier, and for her incredible work, looking at cybersecurity, and particularly for the LGBTQ community and other marginalized groups. And it was fantastic to hear about how she's been able to take what she's learned through working with digital grassroots, through her fellowship, and has applied it in her advocacy in these challenging pandemic times. And so looking forward to seeing how you all are also able to apply those lessons forward. I think mainly the biggest thank you, possible goes to Digital Grassroots for working so tirelessly for these last few weeks to put on a fantastic course, fantastic program. You all have brought so much passion and care for your work. And I think that it's really shined through in every aspect of the course, the curriculum, the live sessions, and especially today. We'd also like to just give a quick thank you and shout out to the Mott Foundation, whose support has made it possible for us to run and organize this program. So we're very grateful for that. And then finally, I also want to just give a huge kudos and thank you and congratulations to all of the participants today for your hard work over the last 6 weeks. We've just been so impressed again and again by you all throughout the course. You've engaged so deeply and meaningfully with the content, every speaker's presentations, and especially with each other. And the Open Internet Initiative and all of digital rights advocacy relies so much on collaboration and coalition building of many different types of stakeholders. And so it's really exciting to see that you all have taken so well to that and have collaborated so effectively throughout the last month and a half. It's been so clear from the presentations today that each of you, all of these, your different groups, your different topics and interests, you've been able to, really learn from every single, module, every single exercise you've done. And so really looking forward to seeing where you all go in the future in your digital rights journey. And so just on behalf of the Open Internet for Democracy Initiative, we have learned so much from you all in these throughout the course of the program. And as we're celebrating you all completing it, we really hope that you'll stay in touch with us and continue to engage in the entire Open Internet community as you take this experience forward in your advocacy. Our initiative only succeeds when it includes a global community of advocates who are committed to ensuring that the internet can promote civic engagement and democratic values. So thank you and congratulations again. And we're excited to stay in touch with you all going forward. So I'll turn it back to you, Ufa.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your kind words. And needless to say, it's been always a pleasure for Digital Grassroots to collaborate with you and the entire Open Internet for Democracy initiative. Thank you very much once again. I'm going to call on Esther from Team DIGRA to give the next steps and the closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Ufa, for the amazing moderation, and thank you, Elizabeth, also for the great words. And just a big shout out to everyone who worked hard to just make this presentations possible. That means that you are working every week just to understand what you are learning and to apply it. So really well done. Thank you to our guest speakers, and also a big thank you to our mentors. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. So really, all thanks to you. These are just some of the next steps that we're going to take. So just to let you know that this meeting has been recorded and will be made publicly available. We encourage you to share what you've learned with your community, with others, and I hope you're very proud of all that you have achieved. In addition to that, next month, we will be releasing the program report and sharing all the work and impact that you have done. And we hope that you'll be proud when you see it and share it widely. We'll also be reaching out to you with the first draft so that we have your consent before it is publicly available next month. So look out for that. In addition to that, we will be sharing with you in our next email a post-course survey. So this survey would just be to help us understand what the process was like for you, and it will also help us to learn and make the program better for the future. So look out for that. And this post-course survey would also include a stipend form. We understand that there are a lot of connectivity challenges that we all experience. So we do give a small stipend to all participants who have successfully completed the course, and we'll be looking to do that next week. And everyone who has completed will also get a certificate, so you can look out for that. That's pretty much what will be happening next. So you have completed your learnings, and we'll be just gathering that data and information to do the report, and also to make sure that we're able to spotlight the amazing work that you've done. We'll also be sharing the work that the guest speakers have shared. So if you want to see the presentations, those will be made available to you, and the recordings are all also available on our weekly session meeting notes. Please feel free to reach out to us for any further collaborations and anything you'll be doing next. We have an open email, open door policy, and we're always excited to hear from you. And that's it for the next steps. If you have any questions or comments, we're happy to hear them in the chat or in email, even after the program. Thank you so much. Ufer, over to you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us for this 90 minutes. This has been an exciting event. We would be sharing all of these next steps again via email. Thank you personally for your dedication in completing the group assignments per week. Reading your amazing work every week was amazing, and it was really insightful. So yes, I think we have officially come to the end of this program. It's quite an emotional moment for me, but yes, I am very glad that we're able to work together closely for up to 6 weeks. At this point, I would like to officially bring this program to an end. So thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. All right, then I'm going to stop the recording now. So feel free to give your shout outs and thank yous.